Hey everyone, this is John. Just some advance warning. We did not censor this episode with Shirin. If you happen to be in a place where you cannot listen to an uncensored episode, now would be a great time to stop this podcast and listen to something a little more family friendly. But of course, when you get the time to do so, you should definitely listen to this because, again, this is the Shirin podcast. Enjoy! Welcome to the Purple Rock Survivor podcast. We have a very, very special episode this evening. We are doing some second chance interviews. This might even be our last one. I don't know. It's so fluid at this point. We might have another one. Who knows? But what matters is this is a very important one to me. I am, of course, John. My co-host is Andy. And tonight we are interviewing the one, the only Shirin. Shirin, welcome to the show.
Ayo, 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 ayo.
We just played that song.
Yeah, we did. And you get to hear it again. That's going to be our new theme song because I edit the podcast and Andy cannot have any input.
It's funny because I could have kept going. And then you start getting into the tribal stuff. But then I'm like, ooh, do I hold back? Do I go all the way? What's appropriate?
No, it's okay.
All right.
That's all we need is we just take the first little snippet and then we fade it out and I talk over it. So that's good. That's what I'll use from now on.
Yeah. Our basic stance is how much can we play before somebody sends a cease and desist letter.
Yeah. We're very lawsuit phobic around here.
And they'll sue us for all the money we've never made on this podcast. Welcome, Shirin. I'm glad to get this opportunity to talk to you because for the most part, I wanted to just one thing, and then I'll probably just sit back and let you two talk. We started the season, or John started the season, writing very nice things about you, and you were nice enough to respond back. And I just wanted, when that happened, I almost wanted to reach out then and just warn you that you should probably not interact with your stalkers on Twitter.
Yeah, it's a rough business, but got to do what you got to do. I don't have any real fan friends in real life, so.
So I'm your coolest one, is what you're saying.
Yeah, fact.
Yes.
Well, you were a couple months ago. I'm sure, she's about to leave you for all the people that have been voting for her.
No backseas. I have it recorded now. I'm going to play that on a loop. So, speaking of Survivor, we should actually, I'm going to divulge this to the fans here. We're going to end up breaking this into two parts because there is the segment of our audience that are Survivor fans, and they're going to want to know a lot of Survivor information. And then there is the subsection of our audience, my favorite subsection, that is just the Shirin fans. And we're going to give them the part two is going to be exclusively for them. It's not, we might touch on some Survivor stuff. On the other hand, we might not. We're just going to throw some questions out to you that have maybe nothing to do with Survivor. But
maybe about how I only wear men's deodorant because I love the smell of cologne.
Oh, and that is the first question. So cross that one off.
Cross it off the list. Women's deodorant is bullshit.
Okay.
I've often thought that. I won't buy the stuff.
No?
I literally used Old Spice.
See, I'm a Arm & Hammer guy myself. I like the whole natural stuff. This is the type of thing that our podcast listeners really want to know.
I think we just earned her another 100 votes just right there.
Yep. Nailed it. Hey, speaking of which, it is, of course, second chance voting season. So be sure while you're listening to this, and I'm sure you'll have a lot of time while listening to this, go ahead and go to CBS.com, vote multiple times for Shirin, register many, many accounts like I have. I think I have 8 or 9 at this point. And just keep voting for Shirin. I don't care who else you vote for. Just vote for Shirin.
I approve of this message.
Yes. So, first question. Obviously, you are a super fan of the show. What season first made you want to apply? Or when did the switch flip and you went, oh my God, I want to be on this show, not just watch this show?
Oh, right away. Season 1, episode 1.
Really?
I was pulled into it by my friends who had seen the first episode when it aired, 8 p.m. that fated Thursday night. And they were like, my friends were like, Shirin, you have to watch the show. You would love it. You're totally going to want to be on it. And I saw it, and I absolutely felt like I wanted to be on it. And then they had advertised, once they started eating rats, I knew it was my destiny.
You a big rat eating fan?
Well, I am an experimental eater, and right, like my parents are Persian, but my mom grew up in Japan, and so I've grown up eating the craziest stuff, like horse cartilage and lamb eyeballs. And so yeah, when I saw that people were like, I was like, oh, people eat rat. That makes sense. It's just meat. And then, oh my gosh. And then also in season one, at one point, like one of the tree meals was a can of dog food or something.
And Rudy ate it.
And they ate it. And it looked good. And I was so all in on that idea. I was like, I want to be starving in the middle of nowhere so badly that I will eat a can of dog food.
Hey, you sound like me when I go to the Argentinian buffet and it's just meats on meats on meats. And I'm just like, yeah, just give me one of everything. I don't really care what it is. Like,
yeah, you don't even care what it is. And you realize, like, oh, that was a heart. That was a liver.
Yep.
No big deal. It was all delicious.
Yeah, I tried something and I was like, this was good. What was it? Intestine. Yeah, okay, thanks for telling me that. I didn't really need to know. Oh, well.
Yeah.
So right away you thought this show was going, the thing for you. So did you start applying right away or did you kind of hold off for a bit?
At the time, you had to be 21 to apply, and so I had to wait till I was in college. Let's see. I think season 1 aired, I want to say when I was 16 or 17. So I think the first season that I was actually like eligible to apply for was season 9. And then I applied every single year ever since.
So we could have seen you as a young woman on Palau.
I could have been the Eliza of Vanuatu.
Oh.
Yeah, but I was a very large woman at the time, and Eliza was a very thin woman.
And also, did Vanuatu really work out that well for Eliza?
She was Final Four, bro.
That's true, but she didn't necessarily have the greatest experience socially with those people.
Yeah, did I?
I know. So maybe you literally could have been. It's like it was always destined to be. So was this first season that you made it through the casting process, or were there some kind of close calls leading up?
There was a close call with Cara Moen. I was on the phone a lot with casting to go out to finals for Fans Be Favorites 2, but I was cut right before, I think like the day before I flew down to LA for finals.
Oh, you could have potentially been on a season with Max before this season.
Exactly. But he was actually at finals, and I didn't quite make it there.
So when was the first time you actually got a call back?
So the first time I actually got to go, the first time I got a call was for Cara Moen, and so it took me 7 years of applying to get that call. And then after that, I didn't hear from them again until season 30, and I think they were originally planning to have it be an all-star season, but then they switched and made it a newbie season, and it was all very last minute. It was because Cagayan was being aired at the time, and it was so well received, it was doing so well that Jeff changed his mind and wanted to have an all newbie season. So I got the call in April when they were scrambling to pull together a new 3-tribe season, and from there it was history. And honestly, at that point, I think I knew that they were looking for successful women. Mm-hmm. I think that's typically a demographic that they have trouble casting. And so I was a shoo-in for finals, but not a shoo-in for the show. But I always figured once I got in front of their faces that I would be able to win them over. And I was right, and I flew through finals. I sprinkled them with amazing RuPaul quotes, which they love.
Are they big RuPaul fans there?
They're not actually. In my final round of interviews, which is it's the big interview round with CBS executive producers and Mark Burnett and Nina Tassler, who is the head of entertainment for CBS right under Les Moonves. Mm-hmm. And she's also a woman of color. Props. But so in that interview, I totally, the last thing that came out of my mouth to them was a RuPaul quote. And as soon as I said, as RuPaul once said, half the room, which by the way, and this also came up in the interview, is that entire room was white men, except for Lynn Spillman and Nina Tassler. Everybody else in there was a white man in a position of power. And so naturally, when I name dropped RuPaul, that entire room broke out laughing. And then I delivered a truth bomb that blew their minds. And I actually got an applause. Jeff Probst jumped out of his seat and was like, "You are fucking awesome!" And then Lynn Spillman was like, "Wrap it up." Wonderful, because Lynn Spillman's job is just to sweep you out of there, is to get you out of there while you're still on a positive note, so that they check the box. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and on a high note.
Once they get the sale, it's close the deal.
Yeah.
So is this the beginning of your wonderful friendship with Jeff Probst?
that interview. I had one interview with him prior to that, which was mainly, it was Jeff Probst and then the executive producers on Just Survivor, also all white men.
My people, who I don't technically consider my people.
Well, it's funny because like all of them were dressed like kind of nicely, like business casual at worst, and then like, you know, suits at best. But Jeff was just in there in his like cash clothing with no shoes on. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I'm gonna kick my shoes off too. And so I like literally threw my shoes in his face, and I mean on the floor.
I was gonna say not in his face.
In his face. No, but I kicked him off like in his direction, and then like I sat, you know, cross-legged in a giant chair in front of him, and then it was just him and me geeking out about older seasons. It was really fun.
Was Probst wearing a blue shirt? Tell me he was wearing a blue shirt.
He was not.
In my mind, he never wears anything else.
Was it sort of like a teal, maybe?
No, it's weird because like when the cameras are not rolling, he is dressed totally differently.
What? No, you've just shattered my illusions.
So you can assume the Probstian identity.
Yeah.
But then in like the Mark Burnett interview, he like had shoes on and he was definitely dressed up like a little bit more. Still not like, you know, he wasn't in a suit or anything, but he like had he was like in reunion gear, right? Like finale gear. And then I called him out on it. I was like, wearing shoes today.
You really stepped your fashion game up today, Jeff.
Mm-hmm. And he mentioned it's because he had important people in the room, namely Nina Tassler and Mark Burnett.
Oh, I thought he meant you. That would have been very sweet.
Yeah, it would have been. But alas, I was not yet Oskooi.
So
I was still just Shirin.
Oh, next season, though. It's coming.
Season.
I feel it. You're going to be the first ever woman to get the last name treatment.
Yeah. Well,
I don't think somebody with the name of Shirin gets the last name treatment. Like, it's already such, like, you're the Shirin. Like, literally, that's your Twitter
Right, you're like, yeah, exactly. You are the Shirin. So did you feel like as you're playing your season, could you feel like your interactions with Probst just amping up as you went on? Like, he starts talking to you about his Botox, and he does this.
Yeah, because after Max was voted out, he didn't really have very many people left to shoot the ish with. But so at that point, like, the only people that he would come to on the mat were Jen, Rodney, and me. And like at Tribal and stuff as well. Like, we were the go-tos. And yeah, so he and I just kind of had it was funny because like with Jen, they would have like these super long conversations like before a challenge or a Tribal, where Jen would just be like what you'd expect, like, what the fuck, man? Fuck you. Like, I don't know what the fuck you want me to say, Jeff. Like, what the fuck? And then like, and he was so fascinated by her, and he would just laugh and like keep talking to her, and she'd just be like, fucking fuck, man, fuck.
Yes.
Jesus.
This is exactly what we pictured Jen being like, so it's so like reaffirming to hear it actually is true.
Oh yeah, and then the best line of the season was a Rodney line that got cut, where he was like, "Yo, Jeff, I started out this season Vin Diesel, and now I'm a Paul Rudd."
Oh, I wish that had made it. That would have been nice.
That would have been.
That was on the chocolate challenge. That's what he was saying. Like, he deserved it more than anybody else to go because he was a Paul Rudd and needed the calories.
Had to get back to Diesel.
Yeah.
So at a certain point, you reached like the pre-challenge dancing charade routine that you do, and is that the point where you're like, okay, yeah, me and Probst, we got it, and you're like doing the eye-to-eye gesture at him, right?
I wish I could say yes. I literally have zero recollection of that whole dance happening.
Because you were drunk on the euphoria of Jeff loving you so much?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair. Seems fair. Are you now like invited to hang out with Probst and Tyler Perry and Boston Rob and that guy from 2.5 Men? Because you're like in the inner circle?
Yes, by which I mean they'll be at the reunion, right?
Oh, I guess technically that counts.
So
yeah, the last Boston Rob, what he thought about the season.
Yep.
And if he has any new books or anything like that.
And then they'll maybe see if Rudy's around in the crowd.
Rudy, what did you think of these assholes this season? And he'll be like, I would have taken that guy, Will, whatever his name is, out in the back, and, you know, I would have given him what for?
Not in a homosexual way.
Not in a homosexual way.
We really nailed it with the Rudy impressions there.
I tried really hard. I'm sorry.
Good job, us.
Woo! Chest bump.
So we're obviously interested in what you did this season, but I feel like most of your interviews have all kind of been distilled into certain moments that we're just not interested in talking about. I'm more interested in, like, what was your favorite parts of what was happening out there? What were the good stuff?
The rewards were all incredible. The food, that's the thing. You think that everybody enjoys the food just because they're starving. That's not true. And like we had a big conversation with Jeff about this one time when they were changing tapes at a tribal. But essentially, in the older seasons, they used to just like hire local chefs or whoever they could scrounge together to make the reward food for people, and then like there would be these local food rewards where one time it was just like, I don't know, I don't even remember what season it was, but he said it was just like a bunch of shitty food and it looked disgusting. And like the people on the reward didn't even want to eat it. And after that, he was like, fuck this. We're going to get our own chef that we're going to bring around all the time with us. And the food that they get is going to be legitimately like Michelin quality, fucking amazing food. And so for the last like 10 seasons or so, or possibly more, they've busted out and like they have a special rewards food chef. And it's funny because like the pizza reward, for example, the pizza at that point was like soggy and cold and had ants all over it.
Nice.
And we didn't give a fuck and we still ate it and it was still delicious, but it was like objectively not great pizza. However, creepy music.
Mm-hmm. Dan music.
There were surprise cinnamon rolls that were not supposed to be there at that reward. They were last minute addition and they were piping hot, fresh from the oven, gooey in texture, loads of cinnamon and frosting. And like that legit, I to this day have not had a cinnamon roll ever as good. And I've been to like every Cinnabon at every airport I ever go to. I've like bought the cinnamon roll shit in like the
Pillsbury.
The Pillsbury stuff, like pre-made from the store, made it myself, like undercooked it so it'd be gooey, whatever. Like I cannot recreate the magic of the cinnamon roll that I had on Survivor. And like I have a trainer at the gym and I was doing like weight training with him this morning. And the final thing he had me do was like that Survivor challenge thing of like that Mama C just one of like holding onto the rope, like with like holding onto your whole body weight. And I was like about to let go. I couldn't do it anymore. And my trainer was like, think of the cinnamon rolls. And I went for another 2 minutes on the fuel of the memory of a cinnamon roll.
Wow.
And which would have fueled you more in that moment? Think of the cinnamon rolls or like, this is for immunity?
Probably cinnamon rolls. Yeah. Exactly. Come on. Probably not that close.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask you too, like, what's your weakness? If you're sitting there in a challenge and it's 3 hours and like you're hanging onto the pole and Jeff's like, Shirin, you've been up on that pole for 3 hours. Well, I should maybe phrase that differently. So Shirin, you've been up there for 3 hours. Do you want to come down for this plate of X? What makes you think like, oh, fuck, okay, I got to give in?
If I needed the immunity, there's nothing that could do that to me.
Obviously.
If I didn't need it, or if I knew, for example, that like Reed was on the pole and was going to last like another 12 hours, right? Then the kinds of things that would bring me down would be like a burger with cheese and with bacon.
As opposed to a bacon cheeseburger.
Correct.
Right. Yes.
Or like anything just like thick and cheesy.
Like Rodney's accent?
Ding. Also, though, like booze, and I wouldn't step down just for booze. Like I would definitely want something substantial with it as well. But if it was like a giant plate of nachos and a beer, like that beer would seal the deal for it because the nachos themselves are not like, I love nachos, but they're not my favorite thing in the world. But the beer would be like, okay, the whole thing's worth it. Done.
Well, when you're out on the island, doesn't it take maybe 2 sips and you're hammered?
You would think. However, like at the Merge Feast, we ate so much food with the alcohol that I actually wasn't tipsy at all. I actually just had like incredible pain from fullness. And at that point, like it wasn't my first, like we had already been on the turtle reward. So I'd had beef stew and other stuff. And like that, I got sick from that reward. Like I shat it all out. It was just like pure liquid ass for 15 minutes. However, Dan music. By the time we got to the Merge Feast, at that point, my body had already adjusted to, from the previous reward challenge. So like I didn't get sick at all from it, but I was just incredibly full to the point of pain. And I didn't feel any of the buzz from the alcohol. And it was probably my biggest regret. I wish that I had actually drank alcohol first and then tackled the food.
Especially considering the people you were surrounded with.
Oh my God, you have no idea.
We'll move on.
Actually, now that I have a survivor here and the topic has gone that way, I've always wondered, what's the better strategy when it comes to food? Do you pace yourself so that you don't go through the problems afterwards, or do you just eat it and because you're going to have those anyway?
You don't always have those problems. Like I literally only got sick from reward food the one time, that first time. Mm-hmm. And then after that, I would overeat to the point of pain, but like I never got sick from it. And then at the Snickers reward, they let us gorge on all the chocolate for an hour, and then they brought out chicken pita sandwiches.
I knew it.
And so I got up and I was like, I'm going to go force myself to throw up so that I can actually eat healthy food that's like good for me. And because we were at like a cabana, like as opposed to being in like random jungle national park type thing, I was allowed to use an actual bathroom, like a toilet. And so
is that like a luxury? Like you're like,
yeah, so
yes.
So they like secretly walked me over to a toilet. And I was like, holy shit, I gotta use a fucking toilet. So I closed the door and I couldn't even believe they let me in there alone by myself. I closed the door and I locked it. And then I didn't even have to go to the bathroom, but I just took my pants off and like sat on the toilet just for the feel of it. And then like I got all this toilet paper and like rubbed it all over my face. And then like I wiped my butt with toilet paper just for the feel of it. And then eventually like I got up and actually forced myself to throw up a bunch. And then I rubbed my face more with toilet paper. And then eventually, like, I got out of there. And then all the mirrors were covered, so you couldn't actually see yourself still. But I had, like, there was, like, a sink with, like, soap. So I got to wash my hands with soap. And then I walked out there, and I was like, or I walked back to the people eating the chocolate and stuff. And I was like, Sierra, you need to go to the bathroom. She's like, I don't need to go. I'm like, Sierra, you need to fucking go to the bathroom. And she's like, okay. And she went, and she was gone. Like, she also was gone for, like, 20 minutes. And it became a thing. We all rotated going to the bathroom, and they couldn't say no at that point. And everything was worth it. Like making myself throw up, going to the toilet. Yeah. And then I ate a bunch of pita chicken sandwiches.
Oh, see, I would have been like, well, can I get some reading material? Because, I'm going to be in here a while.
Yeah. No, I was so worried they were going to kick me out of the bathroom because I was in there for so long. But they didn't.
So when Dawn is like, oh, I don't even want that reward. That's just Diarrhea City. That's just sour grapes, right? Like you want that reward and you'll just deal with the consequences later.
I think almost everybody still wants the reward in spite of Diarrhea City. Yeah.
This is a great conversation, but I'm very interested.
Andy's big into Diarrhea City.
Diarrhea City was not that bad. It was like the one time that I had it, it was like mind blowing in terms of it was like never ending. It was like everything went right through me and cleared all my pipes and like for the last like year and a half of my life. And then I felt fine and I felt great.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's been medevaced from Survivor due to Diarrhea City. It's been the opposite.
It's been the opposite, Bruce kind of guy.
Yeah, we actually went through this discussion with Max, too, of the various people that have had those sorts of illnesses on Survivor. And there was a list beyond Bruce, and I couldn't remember all of them. But, of course, Max being Max, he did.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so I've heard in other Survivor interviews that Probst just berates you at Tribal Council if you are not giving him what he wants.
Yeah.
So give me your best angry Probst anecdote.
Yeah, so most of the time our tribals were pretty explosive on their own and didn't need much Jeff intervention. Like you always know when it's a good tribal or when it's going well because you'll notice that Jeff actually doesn't like jump in and ask very many questions. He just kind of sits there wide-eyed and like watches it all happen. In the episode where Joe got voted out, we went to tribal and essentially like the people on the block were Joe and Jenn. Mm-hmm. And we were going to split the vote, but ultimately everybody wanted to vote Joe out because he was the biggest threat. But at that point, Jenn was the one who was saying like, vote me out. I'm sick of this shit. We're all going to be voted out anyway. And that was like her strategy as well. It wasn't like she was quitting, but like everybody felt a quitter attitude from her. Mm-hmm. And so Jeff kind of jumps right into that at tribal. And everyone's giving him, like BS answers about why you need to get rid of the biggest threat. And Jeff just like is not having any of it. And finally he just stops. He's like, everybody like, shut the fuck up. He's like, you guys are so full of shit. Your shit is going up my ass, reverse gastro, up my stomach, out my ass, so that I'm spewing your shit. And it just kept going. And
is he really this profane at Tribal Council?
Oh, yeah. And we went through like the 7 stages of recovery or whatever. It was like surprise, shock, upset, anger, like all of those, like, and then like to the point where like at the end, like we were just laughing, like we couldn't believe it was happening. But he was doing it not like out of cruelty, but out of like inspiration. He was like trying to get us to fucking give him something, just organic and real. And then it was funny because then like he came back to me and he's like, Shireen, like, why the fuck wouldn't you keep, Joe over Jen? And at this point, I started in, I'm like, well, Jen's my friend, and he's like, Shireen, what the fuck is your IQ?
Where did that come from?
Yeah, and so nobody understood why Jeff even said that to me, but he said that to me, and I was like, I don't even know what my IQ is. This is awkward. So I didn't even have a good comeback for that. I was just like, I don't know. And then he was like, well, I'm going to fucking ask you again and give me something and I'm not coming back to you. And then finally, like, I yelled back at him and I was just like, I don't know what you want me to say, Jeff. Which kind of sounds like Sue Hawk just now. Ooh.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
They're like, I don't know what you want me to say, Jeff. It's like, he's a threat and he's going to win the next immunity and then I'm going to go home. But if she wins immunity, she's going to give it to me and I'm guaranteed another tribal with her here. So, like, I don't know what you want me to say. And he was like, that's what I was looking for. And then I was just thinking, like, oh my God, if they show this on TV,
you're going to look like a nut job.
I'm going to look like a crazy person, just like Donkey Konging my way through this tribal, yelling for no reason. And like, because you didn't see him being like, what is your IQ?
That would be if they were throwing the clown shoes on you the way they did on Dan. Like, they would just have you randomly talking about your IQ score.
Right.
Just all of a sudden, just you cut to Shireen and she's like, just so you guys know, my IQ score is like, wait, why the fuck is Shireen talking about her IQ out of nowhere?
Well, thankfully, I didn't talk about it. He said it, and I was like, I have no idea where this is going. And so I was just like, hi.
So do you feel like you're, the kid being yelled at and like, I'm sorry, Jeff, I'll give you what you want, and you like have to, give Daddy Probst what he's begging for there?
Phrasing?
No. For me, I would say like in that moment, like I really wanted to deliver. I wanted to get an A+ on my test.
You're the valedictorian of Survivor.
Yeah. Like I was like, how do I ace this? I think that's why like I even got so fired up about it. Whereas like I want to what is, I genuinely wanted to understand. I was like, what am I not giving him that he's looking for? Because I feel like I'm answering these questions perfectly honestly. I mean, to this day, I don't even know. But like apparently just like yelling and screaming back in his face is what he wanted. So.
All right. So this actually leads to a kind of interesting question because I think a lot of fans would hear that and it was like, oh, so Probst is just trying to get you guys to not vote for Joe. But do you think like that was the case, that he's trying to manipulate the situation for Golden Boy Joe? Or is it more that he's just trying to create an interesting tribal council and there wasn't one there to be had?
He was trying to create an interesting tribal council. And I think for him, he was also trying to like keep it from being predictable. He wanted to make sure that everybody was actually thinking both sides through and like make sure that we knew, like, is there an interesting case for Joe to be kept around, right? Like you might even argue that maybe Mike should have kept Joe around so that there was still target. Right, another target in front of him. Whereas like for somebody like me, because I'm not an athletic threat whatsoever, it's absolutely in my favor to get rid of somebody like Joe. And so like it's, I think it depends on the audience in terms of like what Jeff was looking for and from whom, but whatever. But like I think he was just trying to inspire an interesting tribal council and more thoughtfulness from these people about who they were voting for.
Right. So like in general, and I don't know if this is something you can answer, especially because you might be with Jeff in a month or so. Do you feel like he tries to manipulate things at tribal council to get an intended result, or is it more just the intended result is good
entertainment?
TV?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that he tries to influence the vote by the craziness. I think he's just trying to make sure that we give him good sound bites for tribal.
So does he just flick it on and off? Like he goes from angry, screaming Jeff to just like, so Joe, tell me about that challenge.
Oh, yeah. Yes. In my eyes, yes.
Oh, yeah, he's an old hat. That yelling is just, terrible high school football coach. Come on, man. We're going to go out there. We're going to do the thing and lots of shit talk. I don't know. Literal shit talk.
Yeah, apparently. At least judging from Shireen's story there.
He carries a lot of weight with all of us, right? Like everybody really respects him there, and he is like the head of the show, like out there while filming.
Right.
So,
do you expect that to be different next season? Because it sounds like All Stars are a little less respectful of Jeff's authority.
I think a lot of people probably will still be super respectful of him. I think a few people like not that they're not respectful of him, but I think that like a few people see him more as a peer and would like I think that was my thing with him when the Botox thing happened, right? Like when he was giving me a funny look. Like he was looking at me like I was delusional. And so that's why I called him out on it because like I don't see him as being quote unquote better than me. I see him as like and like amazing at what he does and the host of this incredible show, but I see him as a peer. He's another human being. He's another adult. And so that's why I was just like, why are you making this like face like I'm delusional, Jeff? And he's like, maybe the Botox. And it was a conversation amongst adults, much like our choreography of inverse bombage. And I think the reason why I engage with him in these like weird levels is because I'm not intimidated by him. I don't look up to him like he's better than me. I just like I think he's incredibly talented at what he does, and I think he's a peer.
Yeah, and to be clear, like we bag on Probst every once in a while on the show, but he is a really good freaking host. Like he's amazing. He really does help the show improve. Like he adds things to the show. Occasionally detracts, but more often he adds.
I actually remember my transformative Probst moment when I like truly saw how impactful and amazing that he was in Palau when there was like it was the first time Exile Island was ever introduced, when there was like they were the water challenge where they were all in the water under the grate, and Jeff said whoever is first out has to go to Exile Island for a night, and it was Janu. And when she got out, like Katie and Ian and Tom were all like laughing at her and making fun of her because they were all assholes. And it was the first time I saw that I can recall Jeff intervened and was like, you guys are laughing at her. She's going to have to go spend a night alone on Exile. And they were like, no, Jeff, we're just making fun. He's like, yeah, you're making fun of this woman having to go live by herself. Like, I don't understand what's funny about that. And just like fucking put them in their place. And he just stood up for Janu and for humanity. And I just loved him in that moment.
Yeah, there are rare times where he just shines. Like he'll take up a cause and you're like, yeah, Jeff, get him. And then there's other times that he takes up causes that you're like, yeah, Jeff, really?
Right. But doesn't he like the next night, like harangue Janu into quitting the game? Like
pretty much.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean again. And like, we're not going to go deep into this topic, but I just want to touch on this. Like, that doesn't mean she deserves to be made fun of for dropping out of a challenge early where like she has a genuine fear of fucking drowning.
Seems like a normal human fear to have.
Right. Like nothing at all ever excuses that kind of behavior. And that absolutely and it's like, I'm not retroactively loving that moment. Like that was always the first moment that I ever fell in love with Probst. And it's also like the moment that I fell in love with Mike in my season where it's like, do the fucking human thing. Like, don't be a bad person. Don't be a dick. Like, don't be an asshole. It's like bad gameplay. It's bad life play. Like, karma's a bitch. And like, it doesn't matter like what she did or the fact that Janu actually was a quitter. She didn't deserve like a big reason why she was a quitter is because everybody was fucking mean.
Well, this sort of actually transitions into my next question because Janu then went to Ponderosa, and I want to know your best Ponderosa story because until last week. It's you, Jen, Haley, and Joe. Eventually Tyler shows up, and, I'm sure he wet blanketed the party, but you don't have to throw him under the bus. But for at least a couple days there, that had to be fun, right? There had to be some good story that came out of that.
It was so funny because, like, everybody became a total whack job at Ponderosa. Like, everybody became a totally different person. Haley became this, like, super type A white collar oriented, like action oriented person trying to finish this Ponderosa song that she wrote. And like she'd wake up, like 5 a.m. and play the guitar and wake everybody up and like be obsessing over this song and she wouldn't just like drink and have fun because she had to go like and work on the song some more. And like no collar out the window. Jen hated any talk about the game whatsoever, didn't want to hear the word survivor, didn't want to just nothing. Like it was basically like a banned topic around her, but so typically she would actually just drink a lot and go float in the pool all day.
What? Jen drinks a lot
and float in the pool all day while avoiding Survivor.
What? Again, shock to me.
Right. Once Tyler got there, I pulled away from the group a little bit and actually started watching movies with the other casting people, the handlers. And I became obsessed with like rewatching like 80s and 90s classics. So like every Bill Murray movie, like Caddyshack and whatever the other one is that's big and funny.
Groundhog Day?
Ghostbusters.
Yes, Groundhog Day. Andy got it. Woo!
Oh man, nailed it, Andy. Good job.
And then,
I was just worried that like they only had like Jack and Jill and like Gulliver's Travels. So
they're gonna have all this.
No, but they have all these like it's like super or like and the dancing movies like Dirty Dancing and then Flashdance and then the Kevin Bacon one. I don't remember the names of there's the Kevin Bacon one and then like the stripper pole one. Anyway, and then I watched Pretty Woman and Pretty Woman inspired my final tribal speech.
Oh God.
There we go. That's a little tease.
So right. We know that I should say that we love Jenn Brown around here.
Yeah.
She is our beloved little ball of hate. So if you had to estimate exactly how many fucks do you think Jenn Brown gives?
About what?
Just anything.
Anything?
Yeah.
So, none. Zero.
None. So you're saying 0 fucks Jenn gives.
Jenn gives 0.000% fucks.
Yes. That was pretty much the impression that we had of Jenn before the season, and I'm so glad that it played out as we watched the season unfold.
Yep.
So you said when Tyler gets there, you kind of the good times were slowing down a bit. Does that
Can't imagine why.
Yeah. Does that kind of create like almost like a when you're sitting there in the jury, like what are you cheering for more? For Mike to succeed or for like non-shitty people to join you in Ponderosa?
Always for Mike to succeed.
So then like would it have been like, what about Sierra? She could still hang.
Yeah, I actually really did want Sierra to get voted out to join us in Ponderosa because I loved her. I did, like at that point I didn't think that she had enough respect on the jury to win the game, even though I would have voted for her to win. And so I thought like if she can't win, then she may as well get voted out and come have fun with us.
Actually, so a quick question about Mike, because this has been bothering me all season, and we may never get a chance to talk to him. Why did he always have something in his mouth during challenges?
Oh, so like that's like our way of brushing our teeth out there. Is like you take a stick and then like stab your teeth with it.
So why does he have to brush his teeth during challenges, though?
Yeah, like I think like he's concentrating. Maybe wouldn't that be a distraction? Sorry to interrupt. But.
No, I mean it's kind of just like chewing gum. Like a lot of the guys did. He wasn't the only one who did it, but like. I'm like, if anything, it might have been like cathartic for him to like have something to chew on to like take like to ease all that stress out of him, like while focusing.
He's like Michael Jordan with his tongue hanging out, just like that's his thing.
That's his thing. Yeah. I mean, I don't know why. Maybe he has like a different reason, but that was my impression.
And then another question related to Mike, and that would be America.
Fuck yeah.
So was that 100% sincere tribute to America? Was there just at least a touch of knowing ironic nature to it?
Oh, no. Like Hali and Mike.
Hali, I got. She was 100% sincere.
Yeah, no,
she's like an Aaron Sorkin character out there.
Yeah, she's the one who suggested the tribe name, and then Mike jumped all over it because he's also super patriotic, and I'm super patriotic as well. But I like to be the kind of patriotic that pronounces our entire country's name.
Yeah.
And, like Hali even had a shirt with her, like America, like tank top with her that like she would wear around Ponderosa. And I was like, oh, did you make that? Like, when you were voted out or whatever. She's like, no, I brought this. Like it was my tribe name. I love America.
But doesn't she know that America is actually
it's generally an used ironically
announcement of the ills of America?
I don't know. I can't even begin to understand.
Andy can say these things because he's Canadian.
Yeah, we don't go around saying Canada.
Yeah. In that same confessional that I had about America, like I also talked about how from now on I'm going to call Mike Ike, and I'm just going to go around and see how he likes it.
You didn't end up doing that, though.
I didn't, but I talked a lot about it in my confessional. And then Ike said...
Well, I'm disappointed that didn't make the show. And you know what I'm also disappointed about? We are not going to get any reunion party stories from you because it hasn't happened yet for you. And it may not happen this season, fingers crossed. So when it finally does happen, do you promise that you will come back and let me know if the parties are as debaucherous and insane as everybody says they are?
Yeah, I mean, I've already heard a bunch of stories from previous reunions, but okay. I will...
I mean, you don't have to name names.
Yeah.
I mean, you can if you want to, because Andy's into that. Andy is the Survivor gossip queen.
Yeah.
I think we have plenty of evidence now to suggest that that's not true, John. The very fact that you're asking, because she'll go to those parties and then she'll find out that the first rule is that you do not talk about Survivor Fuck Club.
So glad we're editing this.
So actually, that kind of leads into because what we're hoping that will happen is that you are going to be on, at least as it airs, back-to-back seasons. And I was just kind of wondering, as a fan and then a player, which do you think is better? Is it a disadvantage that, unlike other back-to-back players, that everybody there will have seen your game? So you don't get like the Russell Hantz or the Malcolm where you got kind of an air of mystery to work on? Or is it better that you got to see your own game and then can make some adjustments accordingly?
I don't think those are the only two options in that question. Like, okay, so in my case, I'm going to answer the first option in your question first. Like, while it helped certainly Russell and probably also Malcolm to have their games not be seen from the previous season, in my case, it's different. In my case, like the snap judgment that I get from most people, like from people like outside of Silicon Valley, let's say, or outside of people from like my professional field, is that I must be some dumb nobody. And that's the reception that I got on the island. And when this happens to me in real life, like I get just dismissed really easily until people find out. And there's like exactly one thing, like they don't give a shit where I went to school because I went to a good school. They don't give a shit. Like they don't give a shit where I work now. I currently work at Yahoo. They don't give a shit. Like the thing that changes everybody's minds about me is when they find out that I worked at Google, particularly right out of college, and then particularly when they find out what I did at Google, which is I made Google Calendar. And like it's crazy because people will literally think I'm this like stupid, dumb nobody, and then they find out I worked at Google and made Google Calendar, and it like right away, instantly, it flips on its head, and all of a sudden they think I'm a genius, which is also not true. I am neither a stupid nobody nor am I a fucking genius. And the thing is, I think it's just largely based on the way I look, right? Like I am a small-sized person, but I'm also like chubby, and I have, weird feature, like non-traditionally American features because I'm not American, I'm Persian, right? And like I don't have this like large imposing physical presence with people until they actually get to know me and my mind and my accomplishments. But I didn't want to go on Survivor and tell everybody that I worked for Google. Right. And I thought like that's an altogether different kind of target. It's something that I deeply, deeply regret though not doing because from the get-go I was disrespected and they all thought I was a nobody. And I think like the one thing, like I remember we were having a conversation about, and I had mentioned that I like had worked at Yahoo, but I didn't mention Google. And Joaquin literally jumped all over that, not literally, figuratively, jumped all over that and was like, Yahoo's stupid. Google is so much better. Google's amazing. And I wanted to be like the only reason why I work at Yahoo is because of my career at Google, right? And like I went to Yahoo to help turn it around. And in that moment, I so badly wanted to, just like whoosh, throw down. Like actually, I worked at Google for many, many years because I am amazing. But
I don't know if that would have helped. Joaquin would have been, I meant Bing.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, well, but the thing is,
I'm a big Ask Jeeves guy.
Well, no, and like what happened, like, and the thing with my cast is that like once we all got back and they found out again my resume, which is so dumb because like it's really just like me and who I am in my mind. But like when they found out my resume, there are certain people in the cast who changed their mind about me like night and day. Like all of a sudden, I was like worthy of their respect that I wasn't worthy of before. I mean, now I just feel like I'm rambling, but essentially what I'm getting at is like, for me, the difference is like, I'm going into the next season with people knowing everything about me and my accomplishments and that I'm not some fucking nobody, that I actually give a great confessional and that I'm an interesting person, that I'm successful and that I'm worthy of respect, as opposed to my first time around where like nobody had any of that evidence. And so they didn't give me anything.
And then do you think it's also, because the other thing, like I'm always worried, like, yeah, Russell had the advantage that nobody knew that he was awful, other than the fact that he was cast for Villain Tribe. But I suppose if you're on the Villain Tribe, you're like, well, I'm not so bad. But that you got to see what it's like to be on the show and how other people respond and blah, blah, blah. Like, is that better for a back-to-back person?
So then this gets to the second part. Yeah. Of like, I think generally it's worse to be a back-to-back player. And I think it's worse for a couple of reasons. One is that like your game is fresh on everybody's minds. And two, which is probably even more damaging, is that like you have no time to emotionally and psychologically recover. Mm-hmm. Like you
and physically too, right?
And physically, but I mean, it's like I've had, and that's a good point too, because like I essentially it wasn't even a year ago that like we even started filming. Like the toll that it's taken, like for me, my body like bounced back very quickly, except like I ended up gaining a bunch of weight when I got back just because psychologically you want to like pound so much food. And so I was still up a bunch of weight when I got the call for second chances, and I was like, oh fuck, now I've got to like, starve myself to and like to lose all this weight, like double time. But especially mentally, like you can't even begin the or certainly you can't complete the mental and emotional recovery process and healing until your season is finished airing. Mm-hmm. And like for me, my season finishes airing the day I ship out for another season. That means like I will never have 100% recovered, and particularly for somebody like me where it was truly arduous and painful and emotional. Like,
and you're going to go from a reunion that could be all of those exact same things.
Right. Like Jeff has, sworn that he's going to bring up all this like shit again, and I'm going to have to deal with Dan and Will at the reunion and then shut it down and immediately go. Also, like nobody even know like what happens in our finale and what I end up doing at Final Tribal. Like I don't know how that's going to be received. Like, what if everybody thinks I'm Hitler after my Final Tribal speech, and then that screws me over for next season? I don't think that's going to happen, but like.
Well, it'll be too late by then. Everybody's votes are going to be in.
No, I think she means the other contestants that are sitting there watching. Okay, but I think everybody there is not going to be paying a lick of attention of what's happening on the screen.
They're going to be tuned out.
They're going to be like sitting quietly in the audience, like with everybody else, watching the finale with me sitting right there. And like we have no idea how we're all going to be perceived and received by the audience, but certainly by our fellow contestants. Right? I mean, it's like I don't think it's good to go back to back. I wish that I would have had at least a year. And I do think that it's like you're better off if you're closer to it, because I think you're like you can more easily bounce back into the mindset of being on Survivor and you remember more of the details. But I think like a year gap is the right amount of time in between.
So like the Cagayan type.
Cagayan and Blood versus Water I think are in the best shape to go back.
Well, speaking of going back, I have a question for you because I pitched this to Max, but I failed.
You're going to fail again. I have a prediction. And my prediction hot streak is on a roll right now.
You shut your filthy mouth, Andy. I pitched this to Max and I failed, but I've changed my approach. I feel like this time I got a better chance to succeed. I've really upped my game here. So, assuming you end up going to Cambodia, I want to be your family member visit. Okay, so listen, I have a pitch for you. Okay, I know your family, whoever you're going to have as a family member, might be disappointed because they're not going to get to go to Cambodia. I'll fly them to Florida instead. That's a nice little vacation for them, right? So they're not missing out on a vacation.
You are drastically overrating Florida.
Listen,
just as an observer who thinks that it's the weirdest place in America.
And it is that. But that can be fun for some people. All right, so family members taken care of. Now, here's the fun part for you. I'm going to come out to greet you as your family member. We're going to chest bump. That's your thing.
Yep.
We do the running chest bump. And in addition to that, I'm going to let you dress me in any iconic Survivor outfit you want. I can do Cochrane sweater vest. I'll do the Savage Armani suit. I'll do tie-dye. I'll do Colby with his shirtless and stupid hat look. I will do
Philip Shepard Mantis?
Yep.
Philip Shepard Mantis.
Whatever. Yep. Purple underwear. Whatever. I'm in. You pick my outfit, and then I run out in that outfit. I chest bump you. It's amazing. And then
I love the outfit twist. Okay.
So now if you're not sold, here's my clincher, all right? I will keister anything you want. You want sushi? That's going in there. You want peanut butter cups? They're in there. Whatever you want, I am bringing you in my butt.
Tempting.
I mean, I'll Ziploc it. I'm not, unhygienic.
Oh, John. You haven't disgraced this podcast this much since you put Dan in your hype team 4.
I mean, aren't you at least considering it at this point, though? That's a pretty good pitch.
I think the answer is to say yes, just to make him do all those things, and then wait by the phone.
Yeah.
For a call that is never coming.
Yeah, no, it is funny. Like you'd be surprised the number of people who've pitched me on being my loved one's visit. Like, even Max was trying to get me to make Jenn my loved one.
Well, he's got Vince coming, so I lost out to Vince.
Well, that's why like he wanted us to have like all Dirty 30 people, like in case we all make it and we all make it that far. And I'm just like,
No.
I'm like, guys, I have a boyfriend of 5 years.
Yes. He would love a Florida vacation, is what I'm telling you.
He would hate a Florida vacation.
Damn it.
Like,
I'll send him to
it's
Canada.
just like not even negotiable.
Wherever he wants to go. He can go to
He
Europe.
wants to go to Cambodia to see his girlfriend of 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
See her when she gets back.
On Survivor.
Preach it, Andy. Preach it. Preach.
Listen, he will see you in 39 days. Yeah, he can go to Norway. I'm going to Norway. He can take my spot.
So
yeah, he would.
Remember how I started this podcast with the warning of why you don't engage with your stalkers?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're at that moment.
Yeah. Oh well. I mean,
yeah. Everybody's trying to be your loved one. Like nobody believes that what they see on TV is not true. Like, you have loved ones. You have a boyfriend. You're
I
good.
know she has loved ones. I'm just trying to box them out and take their spot. How is this not clear?
Although the loved ones thing is interesting because, like, my loved ones are not blood family. They're, like, friends that I've grown up with and have become close with over the years.
They're water family. Survivor
they're water family. And they are my family. They're just not blood relatives. And so, like, the way that Survivor works is you have to get, like, non-disclosure agreements signed by everybody in your immediate family. And then, like, and anybody in your family that, like, needs to know that you're going on the show. And so typically, like, you'll have, you know, your parents, siblings, whoever, your wife, like, you know, in your case is wives. In my case, like, if I were married, my husband. And then, like, you know, your spouse's families and so on and so forth. And so you end up, like, so normal people with normal blood families end up having, like, 10, 15 people on their roster. And those are the people that they go to for loved ones letters. For me, like, they knew that, like, my family was off limits, that I didn't want loved ones letters from my dad or my brother. And so they went to my boyfriend and they went to my backup loved ones visit, who was one of my other best friends. And they went to my mom, and that was it. So I got 3 loved ones letters, whereas Mike had like 15. And I was like, this is bullshit. It's bullshit. It's so unfair. Because, like, I have family too, and it's not fair that my family doesn't fit into, like, your little perfect world construct. So this time around, I proactively sent an email to handlers, and I was like, these are the list of people that I want my loved ones visits from. Like, you can't tell me that I can't get NDAs from them because I already did it, and they're all attached on this email. And then I ended it with, like, a very classy line of, like, these are the people whose letters would have made me feel loved when Will told me that I wasn't.
Oh.
And therefore the response I got was like, lovely, thanks for sending this, totally on it, great. And they accepted it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So they get all hardcore now, but, like, what, 12 years ago, assistant coach is fine? Like,
yeah.
Yeah, what the hell? What's the double standard there?
Because the assistant coach was probably his backup loved ones visit.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So it's like they look at, like, whoever signed the NDAs for your loved ones visits, your primary and your backup loved ones, and then, like, whoever your immediate family was, and that's it.
As a longtime fan, I just have a question. What are your favorite seasons of Survivor?
Pearl Islands is by far and away my favorite.
Right.
Queen Sandra.
Heroes vs. Villains is my second favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And then probably Cagayan was my third.
Really? I think that ended up in our top 5, which I remember at the time thinking, like, we're just, you know, recency bias. Then we just kept looking at the list and we're like, no, it belongs here. I think it ended up 4th for us, though.
Yeah, you guys might have had Micronesia in 3rd place.
Because Andy shot that shit down.
Yeah, Andy, high five. We have so much in common tonight, Andy. What the fuck? It's so weird.
It's because you know what it is, Shirin? Is that I see you as a peer, as another fellow human being that I can just talk to and not somebody to put on a pedestal.
You know what? Yeah. If I'm one of
like
Shirin's,
you and Probst.
Listen,
I know.
If I was one of Shirin's, like, buddies for the letters from home, I would like print out and mail you a Sean Rector hype post, just so you know.
Oh man.
That's I'm just saying that's what you're missing out on.
Could you still make that anyway and send it to my boyfriend so that my boyfriend will send that to me as a loved one's letter?
No. I'm hurt now because I was rejected.
But who the fuck is going to make me a Sean Rector hype post now?
I'll do it. Fine.
Oh, there you go. He capitulates that easily. Yeah. But you know what? What enough about this? Let's talk about why Micronesia is overrated. I'd love to talk about that.
Oh, boo.
Yeah, I honestly have never understood the deep, deep love that it gets.
So, as its defender, because I'm the only one who can defend it here.
Yeah.
We discussed this when we ranked the seasons, but leaving aside the fact that those fans were severely outmatched, as fans tend to be on a fans versus favorite season, there was a lot of entertainment in that season. It might not have all been great strategy, It might have been, throwing the dunce hat on a bunch of people out there. But it was pretty entertaining, though, you have to admit.
I mean, if we're just talking about pure entertainment, then why aren't we talking about Gabon? And if we are talking about like strategy, then why aren't we talking about Amazon?
So my admission, I don't even know if you know this, Andy certainly does. Gabon is the lone Survivor season I have not seen. So I can't talk from a place of experience about that one.
I mean, Gabon is depressing because like the strategy that is shown, it's not. There's like one core group of people who are clearly strategic.
The Onion Alliance?
Yeah, it is the Onion Alliance.
Yeah.
And then everybody else.
I just haven't seen it.
Ends up just meh. But the characters are so incredibly amazing. But you look at Amazon. Amazon has great people. Amazon has great strategy. Amazon has like just like why do people like Micronesia more than Amazon?
Not us. I think Amazon's our number 2 ranked season.
Was it?
Is
2?
It really?
I think it was top 5. I don't think it was 2 though.
I don't know. Go check the records. I think it might be number 2. Because I ranked Micronesia like 11th, and then I restored the balance.
And you boned me on token teens too. You threw token teens way low because you're a dick.
Because it's middle season. For people like Shirin and I, who've been watching for 15 years, sometimes things aren't as memorable.
I like how you're throwing me under the bus. You and Shirin are suddenly a team now.
It's Shardy to you,
Shanini, or whatever your name is.
So you brought up Sean Rector, and everybody heard you talk a lot about him on Rob Has a Podcast. Besides him, who else would you, as a fan, have liked to have seen be on this list? And, I'm not saying you need to take yourself off of it or anybody off. If this was going to be 36 people, who would you have liked to have seen?
Yeah, well, obviously Greg Buis, but clearly some shit's going down there. I don't know what. So we'll move on.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Greg's love for Survivor is not the same as Survivor's love for Greg.
Yeah, perhaps. Keeping it in season 4, John Carroll.
Yep.
Yes, good one. I think he was on our list when we were pitching back and forth. I don't remember if he made it or not, though.
I'm going to shoot ahead to Amazon and say Dina and Heidi and even Alex Bell.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were going to go Matthew.
Honestly, Matthew and Christy. Like, Amazon has so many big characters, and yet the only 2 people to ever return from it are Rob and Jenna. That is highway robbery. But Christy, right? Like, you have the story of, like, this deaf woman who overcame sort of bad odds in the beginning and actually went phenomenally far and did really well.
And then ended up wanting to be the swing vote and gloating in that and didn't pay off for her.
Burn.
Is that why you were like, I'm not the swing vote? Is it the Christy lessons?
It was a couple things. One, it was I'm not going to be that target of being the swing vote. And I vote for who I say I'm going to vote for. You can trust me. So that, even though I'm with these people now, if we end up being on the losing side of the numbers this time, next time around, if I do flip to your side and I tell you I'm going to vote with you, I'm trustworthy and you can, I'm not a swing vote then either. I just switched over to your side and I'm telling you I'm going to vote with you.
You are somebody they will know what's going on when it goes to tribal council.
Yes.
Yeah. If you're with them, obviously. You're not telling the other side.
Well, and honestly, I think that's something really people should see as valuable in me going into the second chance season is I always voted the way that I said I did. I always stayed loyal. I think I'm the most loyal person from my season. And that makes me a great person to work with in second chances.
Well, Andy mentioned Rob Has a Podcast. I, of course, listened to your interview with Rob, which was amazing. So good.
Thank you.
Oh, come on. Did you think I wouldn't think it was so good? So you have to tell me, were you shouting me out when you said Wet Blanket Alliance on Rob?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
100%.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Even if you're lying to me, I'm going to pretend that you're not. And
no, for sure. Axis of Evil, nay. Wet Blanket Alliance.
Yes.
My favorite phrase ever.
Oh, awesome. Okay. I was so proud of that. I was like, yes.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out.
Yeah. And you sort of trailed off at the end oops, I shouldn't have said, fuck it. I'm going to say it.
Yeah, you don't have to worry. I don't think Rob sees us as rivals.
Exactly. No.
Or is aware of our existence.
Nor should he, because we're big fans.
I was like, oh, is that a mean thing to say about other people? And I was like, no, they were mean to me. And they were mean because they were wet blankets. So I can call them wet blankets because that's what they were.
And they were.
Yeah.
So speaking of awful people, here's a much more fun question. Who's a bigger troll, Russell Hantz or the people who post on Yahoo Answers?
Russell Hantz.
Oh, man.
How do you know that Russell Hantz doesn't post on Yahoo?
You know what?
Because
That's a good point.
Technology.
He gets possible. Somebody to do it for him.
He probably has Google Alerts set up, and if someone says Russell Hantz on Yahoo Answers, he runs in and he responds.
Yeah, it's true.
And also, since we were talking about people on Twitter, who in the Survivor community needs to join Twitter that's not already on there? Which Survivor do you need to see on Twitter? And I should probably clarify non-Sean Rector division.
Okay.
Because that was your first answer, right?
Yeah. Oh, Randy Bailey.
Apparently he's on Facebook, but the Twitter is just not his medium.
He's so funny, even on Facebook. I mean, he's just phenomenal.
But ultimately, in less than a week's time, you're not even going to get to be on Twitter for a month. So maybe by the time you get back.
And I'm also going to be so productive.
I'm so over being on top of Twitter. It used to be such a casual thing for me, and now I feel like I have to obsessively check it.
It's like your job.
It's like my job. It is my job. I've started my leave of absence from work.
Well, just so you know, as someone who's been having to do a whole bunch of stuff for the second chance thing, I know how you feel. Not quite to the same degree.
No, you really don't. I think she's
I just said not to the same degree. I'm not Dan comparing my adoption to terrible things. All right, Andy, any more Survivor questions before we get to the ridiculous shit that I really want to get to?
Just quick, how did it feel when they gave you the call to come back?
Like destiny.
Yes.
Like I sprouted 5 new chest hairs.
As opposed to the ones you already have? New ones are popping in?
What did I feel? I felt, honestly, my first reaction was, too soon! Too soon! But my second reaction was, of course. Where do I sign?
And that was my exact reaction, too. I was like, well, obviously the little, blacked out head that said season 30 female is going to turn into a Shirin face.
Yeah, I mean.
And it did.
Who else could it be? I was going to say, actually, the other person it could be is Jenn Brown.
Yep.
Because she is epic. Yep. And it is, so heartbreaking to me that she's not included.
So that's who I assumed. I assumed it was going to be you and Jen, or failing that, because Jen gives zero fucks about Survivor, you and Hali. And apparently, no, it was you and Carolyn, who we did shout out earlier in our podcast and say that she did have a very, very good episode last night. So,
she killed it.
I shit on her all the time.
Dance?
So
that dance she did when Jeff was reading votes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Made my night.
And to her credit, I mean, I said this before too, but to her credit, in her second chance video, she's like, you know what? I understand. I didn't smile. I was joyless. I'm not that person. I can smile. Look, see? So she's owning up to it. She understands.
Yeah, and her bio is about accepting quirky people. ... Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it sounds like she's trying to make a pregame alliance.
Sounds like she wants a second chance, if you will.
Actually, here's a quick question. Do pregame alliances actually work for All-Stars? Isn't that just you picking out the person who's going to blindside you later?
No, I think in some cases they have worked in the past. There are people who are well known to have had, who obviously had pregame alliances, mm-hmm. but then their friends have all gone on social media and said no, all of those people never had pregame. They did. They had pregame alliances.
Yep.
But the difference is those were just the pregame alliances that worked. There were for everyone that worked, there are 10 others that didn't.
Right.
Yeah, it didn't work out so well for Lex. It didn't work out so well for Aris.
Right.
Or Franny.
So I'll say this: Dawn for Cara Moen, nobody even knew. She was the one person who was not spoiled for that season for the All Stars, the returners. Mm-hmm. And so when she showed up on whatever in pregame day 0. And everybody's jaws dropped to the floor because they had no idea she was included. And these were people including Cochran and other people who knew her, right? Nobody knew she was going to be on there. And she made it all the way to the end and was the most strategic player that season.
Yep.
So I think there are examples both ways of how pregame alliances can work and can also fail miserably.
Yeah. I feel like fans get almost maybe too worked up about it. That dominated that season. It's the ones you're talking about failed for half of the people. Yeah. Eventually, when the $1 million is out there and the game is on, the game is on. But yeah, that's all I have for Survivor. Is there any other things that we're interested in?
Fuck yes. Let's talk about them in part 2.
Part dos. That's what it's like when a woman wants a baby.